Entitlement reaches all walks of life, as you'll find out in this episode of Entitled People. Our first one is from OK Combination 475. Found out my girlfriend of 11 years was cheating on me with an unemployed dude, of all people. I'm not rich, but I provided her a good lifestyle, paid most of her bills, provided a nice place, nails and hair done regularly, dates every weekend, couple vacations a year. She got used to that lifestyle and wanted to keep living it despite cheating with a broke dude. She didn't admit to the cheating. I caught on to it. Once it was clear I was done with her, the entitlement really started to show. She said because I had family in the area and she didn't, I should move out but continue paying the bills to give her and the new guy a chance to get on their feet. She also insisted on keeping my dogs, told me I could only see my dogs if I asked the new guy. But since they didn't have any money, I needed to continue paying for food and vet bills. Instead, I kicked her out and kept my dogs. At that point, she was angry, and still felt entitled to my income. After I kicked her out of my place, she claimed she was forced to quit her job because I forced her to relocate. And then she tried to sue me for lost wages, which didn't work out in her favor. You'd think she'd stop at this point, but she didn't. She contacted my work and threatened to sue them, stating, "Your employees' actions cost me everything," and tried to insist they settle outside of court with me for $100,000. She didn't make that much money. Instead, my work filed harassment charges against her. You'd think that she'd stop at that point, but she didn't. She started messaging every family member of mine that she could find, told them I cost her everything out of spite just because she moved on with someone else, and that the least they could do is send her money to help her get a place and pay rent. When that didn't work, she went online and begged for people to send money to her Cash App to help her with a place to live, and claimed it was a domestic violence situation. I don't understand how she doesn't understand that any financial support I gave her would end if she cheated on me. We weren't married. We don't have kids. I've supported her for years. I owe her nothing. I really don't owe it to her to help her and her new relationship get on their feet and establish themselves, which seems to come as a shock to her. The fact that this lady thinks that she can cheat on somebody and then have that somebody support her and her new guy and their lifestyle, like, wow, you just have a whole new level of entitlement with that one. This next one is by Apprehensive Spite 589. This happened yesterday. I was at the car wash. It's one of those that you drive through and then park to clean and vacuum, with a couple of vacuum hoses on each side of every parking spot. Yesterday, they were fairly slow when I arrived. There were only 4 cars in the lot, including my van, out of 22 spots in the lot. I counted before I left. Like the other cars in the lot, I chose a spot away from everyone else so I could have both sides empty. I'm male, but I carry a bag instead of using pockets. Think small messenger bag. I had my bag sitting in the passenger seat of my van when I opened both of my front doors and both of my sliding doors. This particular car wash supplies loaner towels for drying and cleaning, with buckets for used and dirty towels. I had just returned a couple of towels when a guy pulls up immediately next to my van. That was annoying since there was a lot of choices of other places to park, but whatever. Then I realized that my bag was easily visible from the property entrance and from the wash tunnel exit. So I went to the passenger side of my van to dry, clean, and vacuum that side. I then closed the sliding door and locked it, followed by locking and closing my passenger front door. About 30 seconds after I went back to the driver's side to work on that side, I heard someone pulling on my door handles. I immediately looked up and, unsurprisingly, it was the jerk that parked next to me. So I yelled over to him, "Yeah, I already locked the doors." He gets so angry that I can see him turning red, and he yells back at me, "Fuck you, asshole!" He then punched my van, which hurt his hand more than my door. jumps back into his car, and tears out of the parking lot as fast as his little beater can go. I laughed and flipped him off as he drove away. When I went to look at the other side, I have no idea where he hit my van. There was no mark or dent of any kind, so I finished cleaning and went to the store. I'm glad I locked my doors. Edit to add, I always keep my doors locked except for when they're in use. Anytime I get gas, use a drive-thru, or I'm simply driving, my doors are locked. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There's always a possibility of a crackhead trying to do something stupid. I only had all my doors open because I was not close to anyone at that moment. The fact that that person literally drove away, freaked out the way they did, how they acted so entitled to enter another person's vehicle, you can almost guarantee they were definitely a thief. Entitled to other people's items. And our final one is from SpookyGirl0123. I was traveling to Las Vegas to meet up with some friends and pre-booked my seat. With this airline, they charge extra for certain seats. I chose a window seat with extra legroom due to my disability, which cost me an additional $45. When boarding, there was a man in my seat with another in the aisle seat. The middle was open. I checked my seat number and then politely told the man he was in my seat and asked for him to move. I'm a petite female and both men were about 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds. When both opened their mouths, it definitely appeared like they were both used to using their size to get their way. The man in the aisle immediately told me that the man at the window didn't have to move and that I could sit in the middle. After all, he said, I shouldn't make a scene about it. That really pissed me off. I didn't raise my voice, and I was very polite. I said I wasn't making a scene, but was asking nicely for the seat I paid for. That's when he stood up and attempted to physically intimidate me. But here is the thing, I worked in the frontline healthcare. I'm used to men attempting to use their size and mouth to intimidate, and this behavior does not work with me. So I decided to take another tactic. I turned my head to the man in my seat and told him that I would make him a deal. He gives me $50 cash and I'll give him my seat. I told him I paid an additional $45 for the seat and with tax it should be around $50. He gives the money and the seat would be his. This is when he turned to me in shock and said, "You want me to pay you $50 for your seat?" I answered, "So you're admitting that you knew this wasn't your seat. I'm going to call the airline staff and they can take you to your seat. After all, I booked this seat due to me having a disability, which is true, and you were trying to steal it." Everyone around us turned to look at him, and they did not have kind looks on their faces. He turned 14 shades of red and moved to the middle seat. He pulled his hoodie over his head and sulked the rest of the flight. His friend did the same. Moral of the story is simple. Do not use size and gender to bully others. It may just backfire on you and make your next flight a lot less comfortable. It always shocks me when people just end up trying to cause issues on planes anyway, as if it doesn't go through their mind that if they cause enough of a problem, they'll just be removed and possibly arrested. In this case, yeah, they were trying to steal a seat and then act like douchebags. Hopefully their next flight won't be so entitled. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled People. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.